everyone, this is Neil with Wasted Paper here, bringing you another pen review. This time we're actually reviewing a Visconti. I've only done one Visconti review prior. I was able to get this pen from Atlas Stationers on Fountain Pen Day, and it's one I've actually had my eye on for a while, and I really was mostly just looking for a sell before I kind of stepped into it. So let's go. Starting off with the box, you have a solid white Visconti box. You have their V logo on the top. On here, it tells you what pen it is, and if you didn't already know by the description or the title, it's the Mirage Mythos Poseidon fountain pen. On the side here, shows you the same information on the side here. Inside the slipcover, we have this nice box with the V logo from Visconti all over it. Most of you know this probably already if you're into fountain pens, but this is an expensive brand, and they earn their name. They're really like premium with everything they do. This is one of their more budget lines, and that's why I was super excited to really step more into this company. You have this really nice, almost felt like, I think it's intended to be like suede, but it's like a felt material on the inside of here. It really adds to the theming. And underneath that, we have the pen and this little brochure. This is stuck in here, it does not come out. Inside of this, you just have some information on Visconti, some of their most prized pens, the ones they're most known for. The Homo sapien, which I would love to try one day. That is a Van Gogh, which I have a rollerball of that pen, actually. And then a dealer stamp and some information on the back here. This is the Poseidon variant of the Mythos. I really wanted to check out this pen. My prior review from Visconti was on the Commedia Inferno. That is the Dante's Inferno inspired one. I really liked that pen, but the grip to me was super smooth, and I heard this one, though it looked the same, wasn't the same. So I was really excited to check it out. And then what's unique about the Poseidon one is this finish. I'll kind of talk a bit more about it once we get to that point, though. Starting at the top, you really don't have a finial on here. You just have Visconti's bridge clip. For those of you not familiar with it, the point of this clip is you can one hand operate it. So if I let go, you can kind of pinch it here and it opens. So you could open it, put it into a pocket or something like that. It's really unique, and honestly, the look of this clip is just gorgeous. It's such a nice looking clip. Going down from there, we have the cap band, which says Mythos. I think it's a real standout here. They made that specific for this line. Also, and I'll show you right here, so you can see a V right here. That's for the Visconti logo. And then after that, though, you have this, which could still be an upside down V, but it's actually to mirror and kind of mimic Mount Olympus to fit the theme that they're going for with the Greek gods and whatnot. It does say made in Italy. The bottom finial here just has a V for the Visconti logo. It doesn't move or anything. It's stationary. For some reason, that looks like to me it would twist. I'm so used to like pistons, I think, but it is stationary. It doesn't move. To talk about this body now, though, what they said they did, and I can kind of feel a difference of texture on here, is they mentioned that this is a sandblasted material, which is the first time on the Mythos line. It also obviously has the ruthenium finish, which I think looks great. But something that's unique with this finish, and I'm going to try to show it in the video, these blue sections for me, they actually have some texture to them. And I can almost show it barely right there. There's some texture on every blue section on here. It's like that. I don't know if that's intentional. I don't think it's an accident on quality control side, but it's very interesting. I've never seen a pen do that. Just certain spots have kind of like a rough, more granular matte texture. The cap itself is magnetic, which is unique for Visconti because what they do is they have this little notch right here. What that notch is where you have to line your cap up for it to close. So say I close it on here, not lined up. Let me just spin it. It doesn't go all the way down, right? There's no issue, but what you do, barely spin it, and once it's in the right place, it just locks itself in. Super convenient, and it honestly feels really nice. That's a nice way to do a magnetic cap. For the grip section here, I would say it's definitely big enough. It really reminds me of the Commedia one. It's very similar. The end right here has that same mountain logo, which is different. The Commedia didn't have that one, but this grip itself could be that same smoothness. I feel a little bit more resistance here when I'm grabbing this, so maybe it'll be better. We'll kind of know when we get to the writing sample. This is one of the departures that's unique to this pen. So the nib is different for them. It is not their in-house gold nibs. This is a stainless steel nib that is made by Schmidt. So that is one difference here. You know, most of their stuff's made in Italy. This nib is unique to that. I don't know if they do the engraving and kind of tuning at their own warehouse, but it is a Schmidt nib. And it looks great in ruthenium. I love ruthenium pens. They don't do enough of them. And then the ones they do sometimes can not look so great, but with this dark colorway, I think it just looks really, really nice. The pen does post, but it does need to be posted a certain way. So if I have it misaligned and I push down, it kind of stops it on here. It doesn't want to go farther than that. But if you align it properly, it fits just fine. And once it's aligned, it is a little loose as far as I can spin it here, but I can hold it from the cap and there's no issues. It's not falling out or going anywhere. Unscrewing the grip section, we have a converter inside of it that should be branded. Yeah, it is right here. We have a branded converter with the V logo and it says Visconti as you spin it around. On the inside, looks like we do have metal threads, which is really nice. And then on the outside, we also have that same metal thread. And they actually have like a bit of that ruthenium finish on there, which is really nice. I love ruthenium. It just looks really good when it's done tastefully. For inking, we are going with the Horizon Blue ink by Monteverde. This is an ink that's kind of evaded me for a while. I'm a big fan of Monteverde inks. I have quite a few of them because they're really affordable. They make really nice quality inks for the price. You get a good decent amount too. On average, their inks are around like 12 bucks. But this is an ink I really wanted to try because it's always sold out. It's one of the few colors besides California teal that I find sold out a lot. So I really wanted to try it out, and it being blue, I think it should work all together just fine. For the writing sample, we're going to be going with my GLP Creations notebook. I reviewed this notebook a while back, and obviously it's in my channel name. I really don't like to waste paper, so I'm going to continue to use this until it's full. As for the flex, this is with no pressure, with none, with none. First thing I noticed with the writing sample is there's a few spots where the nib was a little finicky. I just had turned it just a little bit too much. I turned it back for me and it worked just fine, whether it was that way or that way. There's just a certain angle where it was just a bit finicky, just a hairline. This is a medium nib. I don't know if I said that earlier. The last Visconti I owned, the Commedia, was a fine, and normally I like fine more, but it was something about that nib. It was just finicky. It was a little sharp. In kind of the wrong ways. This one has a little bit of stuff to it, but not a lot. Honestly, the medium to me is the better way to go. Trying the fine, now trying the medium, I just much prefer this one. As far as flex goes, there's a surprising amount. I don't know that I ever expect any with a steel nib, but you can see it right here. I mean, it's definitely there. And then with this, it's not as obvious here, but I can get some decent flex out of this nib. Look at these two side by side. Really like that, so I think that's a surprise that I'm really all for. I do like how this nib writes, and I really like this ink color. Kompeki is like my go-to blue, so trying a new one that really stands out to me, I will say there might be some competition out there now. For size comparisons, we have my go-to, a Lamy Safari, and a Pilot Custom A23. Looking at these all side by side, I would say that it's extremely close to the Safari. You're really getting the same form factor out of it. Your widest section is wider, but as far as length goes, very, very similar to the Safari. Uncapped now, the Mythos is actually the shortest. I don't know that I expected that, but I mean, it doesn't feel short in hand. And I wrote with it posted for the video. I think I actually prefer it unposted. I'll get more into that later, but this size factor right here doesn't feel like any sort of issue when holding the pen. Posted, the Mythos is the shortest out of these now. As for my final thoughts on this pen, a few things kind of stood out to me. One, the magnet feels great when you normally cap it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The posting, on the other hand, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It works just fine once it's on there, but that misaligned part giving you that stop, it's kind of unnecessary. And I get it's to get these really nice looking facets and everything in here, but I just don't like how that feels when you hit it wrong. Additionally, I did my writing sample with it posted, so it's secure and this isn't coming off, but there's a point when this kind of spins in my hand that it starts to spin the cap just barely. There's like a stopping point, there's a threshold where it's not going to go because you're hitting the edge of the facet, but it's not the most pleasant thing to feel this kind of spin in your hand. I don't think I liked that. Now that aside though, the grip here is definitely better than the Comedia one. It's not like it's that different of a material. I just think that the Comedia ones are like that real stainless steel smooth finish. This has a slight satin finish and you can almost see the texture on there. It's almost like ribbons going that way up. You can just barely make it out. The aesthetics of this pen are just killer. The look of this is just amazing. The resin on here is so unique to have something that's sandblasted. I don't know that I've had anything at all like that, but I really like how it looks. The dark color offset with these really rich saturated blues like right there. You can see that texture on there too. But having that rich saturated blue to me just makes it look so good. And when you spot the blue, especially right there, look at that. It just stands out so well and so nice. And I love ruthenium finishes when they're done nice and kind of done in a really classy way. And this really capitalizes on that. Almost all blacked out with those small hits of blue. Looks good. And that sapphire ink is like a chef's kiss in this pen. I think if you're interested in getting the Mythos or wondering if this line's worth it, I would say avoid it if like posting is like your absolute must do. You have to do that. If that's not a concern to you though, I think everything else I really like. This one for me kind of steals the show. I have a friend that actually has the Athena one, and I'll post a picture here. That one has the glossy body like the rest of them, and it is super shiny. Look, if you want something that's going to stand out and be bright, that's amazing. Don't get me wrong, but I really wanted to get that more subdued look with this because the facets to me, the cap band, it just comes off as art. And I really like when you subdue all the colors of that so you can really look at the design that you've made. All that being said, thanks for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below.